What if you could generate a fully personalized business proposal in under 5 minutes? And all you need to do is upload your call recording into this NA10 workflow, and it will go through and write everything for you automatically in your Google Docs, as well as give you an 11 Labs voice note that you'll be able to go through and share with that client. So it gives a much better personalized experience. Whether you're a consultant, freelancer, or business owner, this is going to save you hours of time of going through and writing those proposals and letting you focus on what really matters. So let's jump in and see exactly how it works. So what we're going to do is come down to the bottom. We're going to do execute workflow. It's going to open up this page here. We're going to enter our client name here. So we've just finished that conversation. In this case, we're going to use a law firm. We can choose the different options. So we can say, for example, AI agent is the solution we think best for them. And we're going to be able to upload that call recording. So all we need to do is come through to here, upload the MP3 file and press submit. The rest of it is going to be done fully automatically. Now, if we come back across, what we'll see is it's going to go through, generate a file for us in Google Drive so that we can store all of this information. We're now going through and writing a proposal. We're getting all of that information so we can update this template here, and it will be done for you all automatically. You won't need to do a thing. You can change it to the exact style that you want as well. We're going to see that it's coming through. It's going to get the transcription. It's going to transcribe that MP3 file that we had earlier on. And we're going to get lots of points to update our business proposal. There we go. So we've got all of these different points that are coming out, including a foreword, solution name, summary, problem statement, and much, much more in here as well. We're going to come out of here. We'll see that it's all updated. We've got a voice note that's been created, all been stored, and it's sent to us over Gmail to send to the client. So now if we come into our Google Drive folder, what we'll see is we've got Carter Legal Solutions. We'll see that we've got the SOW here that's all ready to go. So we've got the document ready, we've got the warm regards. So this is saving hours and hours of time to go through and get all of this done automatically. We'll also come back across to our Google Drive. We'll hear the voice note and we'll play that now. Hi Tom, thank you again for your time today. As promised, I've put together a detailed proposal for implementing an AI agent to automate client inquiries and appointment bookings for Carter Legal Solutions. The solution is designed to save your team time, improve response rates, and ensure a professional, consistent experience for your clients. Please review the attached details and let me know if you have any questions or would like to proceed with next steps. I look forward to working together. So there you go. That's been generated with 11 Labs, which is one of the best platforms out there. And for ease, we also get it across into our Gmail. So if I come into here, we'll see that we've got it all ready to go. We've got the title up the top that's saying that it's all ready for that solution. We've got an executive summary, and we've got the 2 attachments ready to go, both for the voice note as well as the legal solution SOW in this case. So we could send it straight off to the client, or we can make a few changes and send it back. Make sure to come across to the community. We've got all of the resources in here that we're going to be running through today. You get access to everything from day 1 as part of our 7-day free trial. You want to come into our AI agents. You'll see that we've got one here, which is writes proposals. Again, you get access to all of these different ones we've already developed, plus all of the different templates, inputs that we're going to be using today to go through and generate our output. But if you just want the blueprint, make sure to come down the bottom, click on the blueprint. We're going to download it. We're then going to come into a new workflow. We're going to choose import from file. We're then going to upload the blueprint that we've just downloaded, and it'll be ready to go for us straight away. So you won't need to do a thing. But as mentioned, we're going to show you how to build it from scratch together today. So we're going to start with our form. This is going to be how we get all of that information coming through. But if you use something like Fireflies or Typeform, you could get it coming through automatically after that conversation has completed. We're going to call it auto proposal for the title. We're going to say auto generate proposal docs for the client. We're going to add a few elements in here. So we're going to say the client name. We're then going to come down and add in where we've got proposed solution. So maybe we've got an indication of what we think would be best for them. We're going to change this to a drop-down list. So it could be AI agent. We could then change this to be process, or we could say that it's going to be consultation consulting work. So in your business, you just need to change this and you'll be all up and running. I'm going to add one last part here, which is the meeting recording. We're then going to come down and change this to file so that we can store it here. Now, I'm not going to put MP3 at the end here, just in case we've got different file types that come through. But if you know it's always going to be MP3, make sure to put .mp and then 3, so you'll only upload the MP3 files. Now what we'll be able to do is execute the step, and we can open it up here and you'll see it's all ready to go. So for example here, this is where we would be able to put that Carter solution, so Carter Legal Solutions, or if you've got different clients, you would just need to add their name in there. We're going to say that after our conversation, we think the AI agents are probably best for them. And we're going to upload the MP3 file from that client conversation. We're going to do submit. And then what it will do is it's going to capture all of our data in NA10 for us to be able to go through and use. So it looks like it's coming through now. And once it's gone green, that means we've captured everything. Here's the MP3. And we've got all of the details from that client, i.e. the name and the proposed solution. We can do save. Now what we're going to do is come through and do Google and then Drive. We'll add that in here. We're going to say create a folder. If you've not added your credentials before, make sure to come through and create credentials. You're going to need to add your details in here. We've got demos in the community that show how to do this, as well as on the NA10 documentation, which I'll link below to help you get all set up nice and easy. We're going to come back across to our environment though. We've already got one set up, which we're going to use today. We're going to say that our folder name is going to be that client name, which we'll put across. I've got a folder that I've already generated, which is just called proposal drafts, which is where it's saving everything. And that's what we're going to use. So we'll come back across. We're going to come into here and write proposal. And then we can choose that as the main folder for where we're going to store everything. We're going to do test step. And now what we should see is it will come through and have Carter Legal Solution without the S. And that's going to be our new one that we'll be able to use to go through and add the rest of the information. There we go, it all in here. So now we can come back. We're going to do save. We're then going to come through and add the next step here, which will be Google and then Drive. And then we'll come through. Now what we're going to do is copy a file because we've already got a template ready to go in Google Docs, which will enable us to go through and make some changes. As we can see here, we've got our logo at the top here, so we could change that. We've got some variables in here, which make it nice and easy to go through and change it for that client name, solution name. And that's what we need to have an update in NA10, make.com, anything in that space as well. You can change this to be exactly what you want. You just need to go through and update the AI agent part and what it's going to output for you. If you want to include any images, there's some great websites like Unsplash to get some copyright-free images. Or you can use platforms like Pixels, which will enable you to get the same output as well that you could go through and use in some of your templates. We'll come back across though. We're going to say that we're going to copy a file. In this case, it's called SOW for client name. So we're going to search in here, SOW for client. And then what it should do is show our Google Doc template here. And we're going to change the file name. So it will be the client name in here. And we're going to put SOW beforehand, so that we know what it's about. We're also going to say that it's not going to the same folder. We're going to come down to where we've got the parent folder, change to expression, get rid of this, and then put across the ID from the left-hand side, because that's going to be specific for that client. So now if I come into Google Drive, we come back into our section here, we'll see we've got nothing. If I do test step, what we should see is that it goes through and saves a version into our Drive folder. So if we come back across once it goes green, what we'll see is we can go through and make updates to that. So now if I refresh it, as we can see here, we've now got that template ready to go to make updates. We'll come back across. We're going to come out of here. We'll do save. We'll just rename these. And there we go. Now we want to go through and start saving some of the information. So we're going to do a merge module. This is going to enable us to get both the file ID that we've generated and put across that MP3 file that we had at the start, because otherwise what we'll see is if we open this up, we've not got the binary element at the top here, which is that file, to be able to go through and make some changes. So we're going to come back into merge. We're going to change this to be combine. Now you can use position or you can use all possible combinations. What we need to do is just make sure that we're getting everything from the start. So we'll automatically connect this Google Drive to input 1, and we're going to pull our on-form submission through to module 2 or input 2, sorry, and then we'll do test step. And what this should do is aggregate all of that data together. So now we've got that binary file back, as you can see here, i.e. the meeting recording, and we've got all of the information for that client's folder. We'll do save. We're now going to come through and save that file. So we'll do Google and then Drive. We'll then come into here and do upload a file. What we'll be able to do is come into file name as a meeting recording, and then we'll pull across our schema of that name. So we'll come back to the start where we've got our on-form submission, pull that across, and then what we'll be able to do is have that meeting recording saved with the name. We're also going to close this down. So we're going to have our create folder. We're going to change to expression, remove root, and put across the ID. So now we're going to save it into that specific folder. So if I do test step, what we'll see is we get that MP3 uploaded into here. Again, there's different ways of doing this. If you wanted to have this as the trigger, and once you upload an MP3 into maybe a general meeting recording location, it will do that. It looks like we had an issue. And that's just because if we come back, the binary file is called meeting recording. It's not called data. So now we do test step again. And what it will be able to do is upload it back into that file, which we should see any second now. And there we go, all green on NA10. And if we refresh this, we'll see that we've got it all uploaded in here as well. Now we'll come back across. We're going to pull this up to the top, and this will be our upload recording. But what we're going to need to do is pull a second one down here, which is going to be our OpenAI module, because this is where we're going to go through and generate the information to go in our proposal. Once we're in OpenAI, we'll do transcribe a recording. There we go. Now we're going to come through, make sure that you've got credentials added in here. All you need to do is come down to create a new credential, and your API key from Playground of OpenAI. I'll include the link below, and it'll show you exactly how to do that. And we've got tutorials in the community that walk you through in a bit slower pace. We're going to say that we've got our meeting recording, and we're going to paste that in here because that's going to be our input file name. There's some of the file types that it can ingest. So just make sure that we're accepting those on the form input as well. We'll do execute step. This will go off. It'll take a couple of seconds just to generate that transcription for us so that we can then pass that into our LLM module and be able to generate the outputs we need. There we go, all completed. So now if I open this back up, we'll see that we've got the conversation that went on here that we'll be able to go through and analyze to produce the outputs. We're going to use basic LLM chain today. The reason for that is if I just come out of here, we can then choose all of the different models that we want to use. So for example, we may want to use OpenAI from a cheaper point of view. If we need a lot of tokens, i.e. the words are going to be a lot, we're going to want to use something like Google because it's going to have that higher limit on the amount of words that we can use. Or perhaps you really like Claude. They've got their brand new Claude 4 that's just come out. So perhaps you want to use Anthropic, we can do that as well. We're going to come down here to OpenAI, and I'm just going to change this to 4.1 today, just so that we use a little bit more of intelligence to get that best output possible. What we're also going to do is turn on require specific output, and we're going to change that in a minute. What we're going to do first though, is we'll change this to define below. We're going to put across our text, which is that transcript from the meeting. We're then going to need to add 2 prompts in here. The reason for this is if we come across to our community, we'll see that we're going to have one, which is all of the information about our specific company. And we're going to be able to copy all of this. If you're doing this for the first time, I recommend that you just chat to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. You can also copy and paste this across and say, please update this to be specific for my company. What this will do is it will make sure that we get a really good output that's specific to our company that we can send to that client. So for example, here, we've said that it's a proposal writing assistant supporting an AI company. We've given it some of our core services as an example. We've given it a bit about us. This is just a quick demo to see exactly what you could include. The next part, we're going to go through and tell it what we want as the output. So we're going to come back across into here. We're going to copy this writing proposal prompt instead. We're going to come down and copy here. We'll come back across. Then we're going to paste in here. Actually, we'll open this up, change to expression and be good to go. What I've also said at the bottom here is the reference of today's date, just so that it knows what the current date time is to be able to provide that best response. On the right hand side here, one of the features I love about NA10 is you can see exactly what will be passed across. So as you can see there, it's got it all ready to go. In here, we've just said that it's a business writing proposal expert. It's going to analyze the full transcript, get the proposed solutions, and be able to provide us back the exec summary, problem statement, possible solutions, why this would work, the SOW, pricing and payment terms, any upsell opportunities, and next steps. This is where we're then going to need to go through and change our specific output. So we're going to come out of here, we'll come down to output parser, structured JSON output. We're then going to need to get rid of this. To do that, we'll come back across to our community. We'll come down and copy this template here. And what this will do is it'll enable us to have a really good structured output that we can put straight into our document. So now if I do test step, instead of getting one massive lump of text back that we would need to actually go through to get that output, instead what we'll see is that we're going to get a structured output that's much easier to work with and upload the specific sections in our Google Doc that we're working with. So as you can see here, it's going through. We've just completed that section and now we've got the output. So if we see here, we've now got that solution name. We've got a forward, so thank you, it's great chatting to you. We've got an exec summary, we've got problem statement, and much, much more in here as well that we'll be able to include in our document. We've also got our voice note script at the bottom here, which is what we're going to use 11 Labs for in a little minute, so that we can generate a voice note that will go back to that customer. Now we're going to come through, we'll do Docs or Google Docs. We're going to come into here, update a document. Now what we need to do is update our doc ID. So we'll close this down, come to where we had copy SOW. We'll pull across the ID from there. Now we're going to need to go through, and this will take a little time, is we're going to need to change this from insert to find and replace. And then all of the different sections you want to be updated. So for example, here we've got the forward, exec summary, problem statement, proposed solutions. All of this is going to need to be updated manually, but only once, so that it will automatically do it in the future. So we'll come back across. We're saying that the old text is going to be a fixed forward. Now what we can do is come to the left-hand side and we'll be able to put across where we've got forward. Or for example, if we come down, at the start, we had a solution title. So we can copy this, paste into here where we have text, replace text. Old text is solution title, and then put across here so that it will all be good to go. We'll do one last example and then I'll do the rest quickly behind the scenes. We'll do find and replace text. We're going to come back across, copy, for example, client name, paste in here. Again, make sure it's fixed. We're then going to change it, in this case, to close down. We'll do on form submission and we'll put across that client name. So now what it will do is it will go through and update all this information. I'm going to go through and just update the rest really quickly so that it's all ready to go. There we go, it's all updated. So now we've got the exec summary, all the problem statements, the key takeaways from those problem statements, as well as all of the different other sections that we had are going to be replaced with the information that we've generated from our AI agent here so that we can go through and send this straight off to the client. So what we can do before testing is just see that everything is still in that variable status. If we come back across, what we'll do is test step. This will take a little while to go through just because of all of the information that we're doing, still so much faster than a human though. And what we should see is any second now, it's executed that process. If we come back into our document, we'll see it's all updated for that client name. And we'll see that all of this information has been populated. So what you need to do is just make sure that you give it some input examples in the past for that AI agent to make sure that it's giving you the output that you're really happy with. So there we go, all ready to go. Now what we can do is come back. We're going to do a HTTP request module. I'm going to be using 11 Labs in this case because it's the leading platform out there for many of the voices. And what I've already done is come through and trained it on my own voice as a professional voice clone. So as you can see here, so now what it will do is make that voice note exactly the way that I sound. So what we're going to do is come across to our community. We'll come down to where we've got this curl request for 11 labs at the bottom. We'll then do import curl, and we're going to paste in here. What this will do is it will open it up for us automatically. We're going to need to get our voice ID. So to do that, you want to come back to 11 labs. You can use your voices that you've got in here. So for example, I've got a professional clone. So this voice note will sound exactly like me. I can come to the right hand side and copy the ID, but you could do exactly the same for any of these voices that you've got access to or you've uploaded into 11 labs in the past. We'll come across. We're going to paste our voice ID at the end here. We're going to come down to where we've got our X API key and need to update this. So we'll come across to here, down to where we've got our workspace and our API keys. We're going to say that we're going to generate a new one. So create key. We'll then be able to, we'll say proposal YT demo. We're going to create this, copy to clipboard, come back across and paste in our X API key here. We're now going to need to update the script. So we're going to come back down to where we've got our basic LLM chain. We'll get rid of this and then we'll pull across the voice note script. And what we'll see here is that we're using that latest V2 multilingual from 11 labs. What we're also going to do is come down to where we've got response. We're going to change this to be file and we'll just change this to be voice and then note so that we can go through and use this a bit later on. And it's going to also store it better in our Google Drive so that we can record it as we need. So this is going to take a couple of seconds to go off and generate. As we can see here, it's starting to generate it straight away. And we're going to have it in our voice as we mentioned a bit earlier. And it's already come back. That's how quick and easy it is.
Hello, Tom. Thank you again for your time today. I've put together a tailored proposal for deployment.
So there you go. I think that sounds absolutely fantastic. And we'll just rename this to generate voice note. And we're going to do Google and then Drive so that we can upload it into our file. And we'll be able to store all of it in the future. We'll do upload a file. We're going to say that voice note is the data. We're going to say voice and then note as the file name. We'll then put across where we have the title from a bit earlier on. So we can do Carter Legal Solutions. We'll get rid of this. We're going to come down to the file and we'll change the ID as well to be that one that we had right at the start. We'll do test step. What we should have now is both the meeting recording, the SOW, and we're going to have that voice note saved in our Google Drive as well. So if we refresh it, as we can see here, we've now got it all come through nice and easy for us to be able to use in the future. What we're going to do next is Google and then Drive, because we're going to want to download the file, which is our SOW from a bit earlier on. So we'll collapse this down. We're going to say where we've got our update proposal, we're going to put across this document ID in here. We're also going to change the Google file conversion because we want it instead of HTML to be PDF as that output. So it's going to be a PDF SOW that we can go through and use. We'll do test steps. So now it will download the SOW that we generated a bit earlier on, but in a PDF format. So if we come back across, what we should see in here is that PDF ready to go. We'll do save. Now we're going to do a merge because what we're going to need to do is combine and by position the two inputs that we get from both the voice note as well as that PDF file to be able to use it in the email that we're going to send across. So we're going to merge these together and there we go. So now we've got the SOW as well as the voice note. So we can do Gmail. We can come into here. Now I'm going to send it to myself, but if you wanted to do it, for example, as a draft, you could do it in there and then go through and update it. But I'm going to do send message. That's going to go to me, or you could send it off to the client straight away. We'll add our email in there. We'll do the subject as proposal is ready. We're then going to put across where we had our name from right at the start, just so that we know which proposal it is. We'll add that in there ready to go. We'll get rid of this. We'll say that it's going to be text. We're going to add the message. So again, we can just say that it's going to be proposal is ready. What we could also do is exec summary, and we could pull across the output from our basic LLM chain, maybe just so we understand what that proposal is at a high level. We're also going to come down and add the attachments. So we'll close these down. We'll come across to binary. We'll see that we can add one and then add two. We're going to have the SOW, but to add the voice note, we'll just rename this to voice note. So what we'll be able to do is do execute step, and now it will send that email straight back to us. So we'll just wait for this to go green on the right hand side here, and then I'll show you it all completed in Gmail for us to be able to leverage. So there we go. We've now got it all come through exactly the same as we had earlier on. We can see the SOW that's come through. So I think that looks absolutely fantastic. Again, you can go through and change this as much as you want. And we've got the voice note ready to go as well. So if we wanted to send this over
Hi,
here,
Tom. Thank you again.
or if we wanted to go through and send it on LinkedIn, it'd be nice and easy to do so. That's a really quick demo, just how to automate your proposals with AI. Make sure to come across to the community. You get access to all of these resources plus much more. Stay tuned for around AI agents, automation, and have a great day.